Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and today we're doing a new subreddit. This is r/TalesFromCallCenters and my good friend Oz Media will also be putting out a video on this today or tomorrow I believe. So I will leave his link in my description. Please go and check him out. He's an awesome guy and he works really hard. This is a subreddit that's kind of close to my heart because I have worked in various call centers myself, so I can completely identify with some of these crazy stories, crazy customers, so I will most likely be telling a few stories of my own. But without further ado, let's get into the stories. My first and last day on the job. You're all saints to me. I lasted one shift at a call center. Here's the story. I really needed extra cash, leaving an abusive relationship, and the University Alumni Association had just been revamped. They hired about 30 of us and put us through the most boring training. It was almost 2 weeks of paid training, just learning the system, swapping stories with veterans, and learning about some technicalities, like the school's name had changed and some alumni might not recognise who we were because of it. Anyway, I was in a bad mental state, but I thought I could tough it out because money. My first day, no one answers my call. I go through about 10 names before the 11th person answers. It's my friend who won't be an alumni for another month. She laughs at me and hangs up. My 12th call, an elderly lady picks up. She'll be the EL in the story. Elderly lady. Hello? Soft piano music in the background. Hi, I'm calling from the university. May I speak to this person? Oh, that's my husband. What is this about? I'm calling from the university's Alumni Association. We're looking for donations to rebuild our library atrium. May I speak to your husband? I'm at his wake. Pardon? I am burying my husband tomorrow. No, you cannot speak to him. He's dead. I quit right after she hung up on me, and then I cried in the bathroom because I just asked a widow if her dead husband could donate money to a school he hasn't attended in 50 years. I have a similar story like this. Many years ago I used to work in a call centre for a large phone company. It was outbound calling existing customers and ask them if they wanted to buy another product for discount like an iPad or another phone or a SIM card, things like that. It was actually soul destroying work, and it was the only job that I have ever actually walked out on. I called a customer and she answered. I told her who I was while I was calling and she started crying and saying that she couldn't talk right now because her husband had just died. I apologized profusely. It's just, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I told her that I would make sure that she wouldn't be contacted again. I apologized again, I wished her all the best and I let her go. Immediately after the customer hung up, my manager comes over to me and told me that he's heard the call and he was angry that I didn't even try to sell. I was confused and thought maybe he'd been listening to a previous call of mine or something, so I explained that woman's situation and he just looked at me blankly and then he said something like, yeah, you didn't even try to sell that woman anything, you're not doing your job. I was incredibly angry. I told my manager that I'm just going to take my lunch early. I packed up all my stuff and I just left. And I do not regret it at all. That company, since I've been working at it, has changed names about 4 times. So if there's anyone who's listening in the Belfast area, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I will never forget the sound of this customer hearing her name screamed back at her. I work in telecom. At the time this happened, I was in a role doing cell phone tech care, and I got a call from a woman who was pissed and demanding a replacement phone for her Galaxy S8 because the Bluetooth doesn't work. After some questions, I managed to figure out the reason she was convinced of this. My S7 worked just fine with my car, but the S8 won't. I asked if she had performed the first time Bluetooth pairing before and she said, no, but I don't have to, it's supposed to just work. She was loud and snappy through the entire thing. She eventually told me her dealership had set this up for her the first time. I asked her some general questions about her car and where she might find the settings and she steadily got louder and louder, insisting that her car had no such options or buttons for Bluetooth. I tried to recommend she contact her car dealership since they had set it up for her the first time, but this got her even more heated and she continued to yell that this was our problem because it had worked before. Eventually, I found a YouTube how-to video showing where the button was. It was one of those voice control buttons on the steering wheel, and we were able to get the phone paired. Once the pairing was complete, a voice said, please record a nickname for this device. She was still angry and shouted her name at the car with the same tone she had been using with me for the entire phone call. The car then said, is this correct? And played the clip of her shriek back to her. I still remember the exact tone of her voice and her full name, although this happened over a year ago. After this, she got really quiet for a moment, then said in a quieter, but still very unpleasant tone, well, that just sounds awful. She did not apologise, but got quiet and uncomfortable and we ended the call shortly after that. I like to think that she has never learned how to re-record that clip and has to hear her car scream her name back at her every time she has to mess with her car's Bluetooth. It never fails to make me smile. Update. Dang y'all, I was not expecting this to blow up like it did, thanks for the silver. I don't need internet, I just need Wi-Fi. Surprisingly, this is not a rare request in my call center. I work for one of the top cable providers in the US and also one of the most hated. This call came as a transfer from tech support. Tech support had notated on the account that the customer was requesting to return their modem and just wanted Wi-Fi. I barely get out a "hello, thank you for calling this place, you've reached this person with the customer solutions team, how can I?" when I get greeted with a screech of, "You better have an effing solution for me. Your tech support from God knows where is trying to tell me I'm stupid." After 10 minutes of trying to calm this young woman, we can see birth date, she was 26, down, I finally get her to explain exactly what she was trying to do with her service. "I just need Wi-Fi. I don't need internet. I don't need to rent your modem." "Are you going to be using your own modem?" "No. What don't you idiots understand? I don't need a modem to get Wi-Fi. I don't need anything from you. I want to cancel my service and return your modem. I just need Wi-Fi." "Miss, if you'd like to disconnect services with us, I'd be more than happy to help you with that. But I do want you to fully understand that unless you are getting internet service with either another provider or using a mobile hotspot, you will not have Wi-Fi in your home. This is why I hate your company. Your whole company is a bunch of effing idiots. I get Wi-Fi all the time. Yes, I want to disconnect my internet immediately." At this point, I muted myself and have pulled up the "that's not how this works, that's not how any of this works" commercial on YouTube, while she tells me how stupid I am. As a company, with disconnections we are supposed to leave a week out for a completion date. The billing stops that day, but their services stay on for up to a week. If a customer requests immediately, we can do it literally within 5 seconds though. I processed her disconnection immediately, told her where to return her modem and ended the call. Checked up on her account 5 days later. She called back the day after to restart her internet. No, you're not allowed to run red lights because you're in a hurry. I don't exactly work in a call center, but I do spend most of my day taking calls. My job is essentially to screen potential cases for a personal injury law firm. This is the relatively brief story of one of my favourite calls I've taken. Me will be me, PC will be potential, or psychotic, client. "Thank you for holding, this is me, how can I help you?" "Yeah, I need a lawyer." "Okay, and what exactly do you need a lawyer for?" "I was in an accident." "I'm sorry to hear about that. Can you tell me how the accident happened?" "Well, see, I had just given birth and I got a phone call from my sister. She said my baby's dad was breaking into my apartment and tearing up and stealing all my stuff while I was in the hospital. So I took my baby and ran out of the hospital. I put my baby in the backseat and started racing across town to get to my apartment, and I ran a red light and got hit." And note, the company I work for only handles personal injury claims. Our company does, however, own a separate firm which represents for criminal defense. At this point, I wasn't sure what type of representation she was actually seeking. "Okay, ma'am, before we proceed, can you tell me exactly what you need representation for?" "I don't know, you tell me." "Well, what our firm does is represent for bodily injury claims and accidents caused by a third party. We also have..." "Wait, so are you trying to say that because I ran a red light, it's my fault I got hit?" Another note, since I'm not a lawyer, I have to be extremely cautious in my wording so as not to provide any kind of specific legal advice. I am qualified to provide a general legal advice. Well, generally speaking, yes. A person who runs a red light is typically considered to be at fault in the event of an accident. So even though they saw me coming and knew I wasn't going to stop, it's still my fault? I didn't say that, but that is typically how it works. Okay, well in that case, I'm going to change my story. So what really happened was... Ma'am, it's a criminal offence to make fraudulent claims against an insurance company, and as such, our firm will not be able to assist you in this matter. For further assistance, I advise you contact the State Bar Association. Goodbye. Disconnect. I can't promise that every word was taken verbatim, as this occurred a few years ago, and I also, rather charitably, refined the PC's speech in this transcript, but it's still one of my favourite calls I've taken in the time I've been here. Sucking her faucet dry. I work for a call centre for a faucet company and mostly do warranty calls. Someone's faucet starts leaking, they call, I mail them the parts to fix it. It's pretty easy and a lot of the calls are standard. But there's a girl at work who gets the weirdest calls. Every day some complete loon calls her. One time a dude emailed in a picture of his faucet so she could identify what model it was, and in the reflection of the faucet you could see the guy's wife standing naked behind him. But my absolute favourite was a couple of weeks ago, where this lady calls in with a faucet that wasn't flowing very well. She turns on the cold water and nothing comes out. So my co-worker is walking her through the steps to take the handle off and check to see if the valve is clogged. Well, turns out it's clogged. So my co-worker was getting ready to explain to her how to flush the faucet out, but before she could, the customer up and went and grabbed a goddamn straw and started sucking the water out of the faucet. Immediately, this woman starts gagging and vomiting all over her floor. Her husband walks in, sees what's going on and yells, "What the f are you doing?" I love my job. You will give me a month free. Obligatory using alternate account for privacy, etc. I work in Tier 2 tech support for a large nationwide ISP supporting internet, VoIP and IPTV. We're all used to it here. A customer calls in because their tech hasn't arrived at their home. We pledged a 9 to 11 AM window and it was 12:30 PM when he called in. He had good reason to be upset. I checked into it and his tech wouldn't be there for another hour. I apologised and offered to reschedule. "Here's what you're gonna do for me," he said in a very condescending tone. "You're gonna give me a month's free service, an internet upgrade, and free pay cable movie network for 6 months, and you're gonna do it now." Our standard would be $25 credit for a missed tech appointment, which this one wasn't, at least yet. It was late, very late in fact, but still would be worked. The customer's monthly service bill was $200, so he was asking for a 200 credit and free upgrades of around $50 per month. I told him that I'd give a $25 credit as a goodwill gesture. "Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna give me 2 months free service for this." First of all, the second you start telling me what I'm gonna do and talk to me like I'm a child, I'm not gonna do it, whatever it is. Be respectful and I'll move mountains for you. Treat me abusively and you've got a not one chance I'm gonna help. I told him again that I couldn't, unfortunately credit his account for $200+. "Then transfer me to someone who will," he said. "Sir, that's impossible because there's not a person in the company who will do that for you," which is true. Again, I offered to reschedule and he cursed at me. He finally allowed me to set up tech for today. The kicker to the story is, not only did he not get his free month of service, his issue was resolved in 5 seconds after the tech arrived by restarting the receiver, aka turning the cable box off and then back on. The previous note said the customer refused to do that with Tier 1 on the phone because he shouldn't have to do that. The tech charged the customer $99 for an unnecessary dispatch. We never should have sent a tech out to begin with. He will likely get that fee waived if he complains though, unfortunately. We should just fire the customer for being abusive. However, he won't get it waived if he's as unpleasant to the billing department as he was with me. TLDR. Customer demands $200 for a service tech being late. Not only does he not get that, he gets charged $99 for wasting the technician's time. That sentence, "be respectful and I'll move mountains for you," is incredibly true in call center community basically. If you call us up shouting and screaming, we will do the bare minimum for you. But if you're genuinely nice, if you treat us like humans, we will go the extra mile, we will try and sort your problem out, and we will give you the service that you want and deserve. Please treat people like people. Okay, so that's all for r/Tales from Call Centers. I really hope you do enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.